Okay, so we went over the lecture part of the chapter. Okay, so in this video, what I'm going to do is we're going to go over some examples, and you want to consider this your classwork and the time we take to do some of the computations a little more in depth in order for you to understand the concept as well as for you to be able to get through your homework with a great understanding, okay? So I'm going to start off with day one basic with the first part of the lecture, okay? And we're going to go over a few of the account types as well as a few of the journal entries we'll need to make. All right, and you want to remember that we're looking at merchandising companies and we're going to be looking at the purchases they make, which are the items that they purchase for resale. Then we're going to look at the accounts payable. So once we purchase these items for resale, we've created a liability, right? So our liability account is going to be our accounts payable. And then we're going to look at the cash payment when we're paying on these liabilities, basically. All right, so we're going to start off at the basic and we're going to get more into depth, okay? So the video may be a little longer, but it'll definitely help you with your homework. And what I'm going to do now from this point on, I'm going to be opening up our chapters 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 homeworks is just so that we can spend a little bit more time on these chapters. They are going to come with a lot more detail, and it's going to be great detail that you need to understand. Okay, so I'm going to slow it down just a little bit. The homeworks will be open a little bit longer. So do be sure to go in and look at our schedule again as far as when homeworks are due and what time they're going to be due by, just so you do have that understanding and you're preparing and you're taking into consideration time management to get these homeworks done, okay? I do want you to focus on your homeworks as well as your exams and your quizzes in this course, okay? All of that is important in order for you to pass the course, in order for you to move through the accounting courses effectively. All right, so do take this class serious, especially if you're going to be working on becoming an accountant or working in the accounting field in some aspect. However, accounting will affect you throughout your daily life or your personal life as well, because you're always going to be purchasing things and having liabilities, meaning you're going to have to pay for these purchases, right? We have liabilities in life in general. So we have our own accounts payables in general. So basically, if we use the light company, we're going to get a bill. That's an accounts payable. We need to pay that bill at some point in time. And most times there's a 30-day period where you have to make that bill payment. So you can relate accounting to your personal life. All right. So don't forget that accounting is going to be important to you in your personal life as well as if you're in the field of accounting or finance or any business field, or if you decide to start your own business, it's going to be important for you to understand accounting and how it works. All right. So let's get started on these problems. I don't want to draw it out, okay? But we are going to get started on these problems and we're going to work through it. And like I said, any questions, please do email me with questions, okay? I do have office hours. You can look at my office hours. You can email me. I can set up a time to meet with you through Zoom. If my office hours don't work and you really need to talk to me, that's fine. You just email me and we'll find a time that works for both of us, okay? My goal is to help you all pass this course, okay? And at this point, it's going to get a little difficult only because there's more information to absorb, okay? Accounting is definitely hard. It's difficult. It's a lot of information, but anyone can do it if you put the time into understanding what's going on in accounting, okay? So this first problem is going to talk about the new accounts, okay? The new accounts that we're going to need to use on our chart of accounts for those purchases that we're making as a merchandise company. Okay, so we're going to have our purchase account, we're going to have our purchase returns and allowances, and then we're going to have our purchase discounts. All right, our freight in and our transportation in. All right, so first let's go through what type of accounts these are. Okay, so the type of account for a purchase account is going to be an expense account, right? So once we purchase something, then we have an expense. All right. The normal balance for an expense is a debit, right? All expenses are debited. That's how we increase them. And you want to remember that a normal balance is a debit or a credit going to increase this account. Okay, and a debit's going to increase this account. And we use this account to record the purchases of merchandise inventory. Okay, and I'll just be abbreviating these. We kind of went over it in the lecture slides as well. So then we have our purchase returns and allowances. And like I said earlier, these accounts are going to be accounts that offset our purchases. Okay, they give us the true net value of our purchases account above. Okay, so we're going to consider these contra expense accounts. Okay, so they do the opposite of what the original expense account does in order to give us a true value of the purchases that we really have on our account. Okay, so that means we're going to credit these accounts. All right, and then this account is used to record the returns or allowances of our merchandise inventory to sellers and this is going to be on the buyer's books. Okay, so the seller, if we're the purchaser, we're purchasing items, then we're going to record this. This is going to be on our books because we are the buyer. Okay, so we're going to record these changes on our books. And they probably have the changes, they will definitely have the changes on their books as well, just in a different form. Okay, then we have our purchase discounts. All right, and our purchase discounts are going to also be a contra asset. Sorry, I keep saying that, but I mean a contra expense. Okay, and a contra expense, like the purchase returns, just shows us our true net value of our purchases. So a purchase discount is going to have a credit, a normal balance of a credit, and we're going to use this account to record any discounts that we're taking because we made payment early. All right, so this is to record discounts given for early payments by the buyer. Okay, then next we have our freight in or our transportation in, and this is going to be an expense of getting our products to us from the warehouse. Okay, and all expenses are debited in order to increase them. All right, and then this is going to be used to record the payment of transportation cost on merchandise inventory. So we want to say payment of transportation costs on the purchase of merchandise inventory. Okay, so you want to remember all of these accounts. They're all very important. So you want to take this table very, very serious. It's going to help you in the journal entries as we go through. Okay, so next we're going to be recording purchases made for cash and on account. So we're going to record those purchases that we purchased with cash, and then those accounts that we purchased on account, meaning we received an invoice with terms. Okay, so This is going to be Lewis Corporation, and they're engaged in the following transactions during June. All right, so June 4th, they purchased merchandise on account. Okay, so on account means that we're going to receive an invoice. Okay, so make note of that. On account means we're going to receive an invoice with terms. So we purchased merchandise on account from Saling's company and they gave us invoice 100, and the invoice said it was for 1,125. The terms were in 30, right? And in 30 means that we pay the net within 30 days. The net of the invoice is due within 30 days. All right, so they didn't offer us a discount with this particular purchase. Okay, so we'll give it a date. So we'll say June 4th. All right, and we purchased merchandise on account from Saling's company. All right, so we purchased some merchandise and merchandise inventory. Okay, so right now we're going to be just dealing with purchases. Okay, so we're going to say that we purchased, and the amount was of the purchase for what was for 1,125. Okay, and then we need to go and we need to debit our accounts payable. Okay, because we purchased with an invoice on account, because we purchased on account. All right, then there's an invoice that was given to us, and at some point in time they said 30 days we need to make this payment. Okay, so that's gonna give us 30 days from June 4th. So which, if we're June 4th, we're in May. Okay, and there's 30 days in June. So then we would be making a payment on the 3rd of May. Okay, so we do want to give this accounts payable a name. We spoke earlier about the subsidiary ledger. Okay, and this particular vendor is Saline Nas Company. Okay, and the amount is going to be for the total amount, which is 1,125. Okay, so that would be the journal entry we would record for that for June 4th. All right, so then next we have June 15th. Okay, so I'm just following the information given here. So we'll say June 15th. And we're going to record purchases for cash. Okay, so we have purchases and we paid with cash. All right, so then our purchase total is $16.10. All right, and we use cash. So we're going to go and credit our cash. Our cash needs to decrease. We need to credit it for the $16.10. Okay, then finally we have June 30th. All right, and on June 30th, we paid the amount to Saling's company for the purchases on June 4th. So that's for these purchases here. Okay, we paid the amount. So we're going to go over here. We're going to go to our accounts payable, okay, for this company, and we need to debit it in order to get rid of it. All right, we credited it to put it on the books. We're going to debit it to get rid of it. So this will be accounts payable. And we want to make sure we mention that vendor name for our subsidiary ledgers. And the total amount of the invoice, or what's in our receivables, is 1,125. Okay, and if we're making a payment, we're using cash. Okay, and credit card, check, cash, they're all considered cash. Okay, if we used a credit card, that's not going to be really considered cash unless it's a bank credit card. Okay, so we're going to say 125, 1,100, 1,000, oh my gosh, 1,125. Okay, my numbers are rumbling with me, but we will get through this. All right, so that's pretty clear. If you need to go back, stop the video, go back and look over that one more time. All right, now we're looking at recording purchases made for cash on account. All right, made for cash and on account. So we're going to go over this one more time. Okay, so we have June 4th again, and we purchased merchandise on account. Okay, and this is from Saleen's company again. So it's going to be accounts payable. At this point, I'm going to just use acronyms. Okay. So if you see an A/P, that's accounts payable. We need to give it the name, and it's Selena's company, Selena's, I think it's Selena's company. Okay, and first off, this is in the wrong spot. Okay, this needs to actually be our purchases. I'm going to just grab this and move it down. We're going to debit that account. So this is going to be purchases. We're going to always start off with our purchases when we're recording a purchase. And it's going to be for $9.85. And then in our accounts payable, in our control account, as well as our subsidiary account, we're going to record that $9.85. Okay, and the terms on this one was net 30. So within 30 days, we need to make a payment. Okay, so then we'll go to June 15th. And it says we recorded purchases for cash. Okay, so we used cash, so we're going to just record the purchase. Okay, and it's going to be for $14.70. And we just used cash. So our cash is going down. We need to credit our cash for $14.70 as well. Okay. So next we have June 30th. We paid the amount due to Saleen's from June 4th payment. From June 4th purchase, excuse me. So here's the purchase. Now we made a payment. Okay, so it's going to come off of our accounts receivable. Okay, and then we're going to pay cash for it. So that's going to take it out of the account for Selena's company. So what we're going to do is at June 30, we're going to go and we're going to record it to our accounts payable. And it's $9.85. And we're going to go and credit our cash for the $9.85 as well. Alrighty, so that completes that journal entry. So what we're going to do next is we're going to move to the next problem. And in this next problem, we're going to be looking at recording purchases made with cash and on account with those purchase returns included. Okay, so as I'm going through here, I do want to be sure that you did take the time to go onto Canvas and print out this worksheet because it is available to you there. I want you to be printing these worksheets out and I want you to be following along with me only because watching me do it, you are not going to absorb the information. Whereas if you're doing it along with me, you will absorb the information and you'll be able to take this information with you into the homework. Okay, so if you haven't done that, please pause the video, go into Canvas, and print out these classwork assignments. All right, so we'll keep going. So now we're looking at recording purchases made on account with purchase returns. Okay, so on April 1st, let's record that date. April 1st, we purchased merchandise for cash. Okay, so now we're purchasing merchandise for cash. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and debit our purchase account. And that purchase amount we need to record as $12.50. So we'll go here in our debit account and we'll record the $12.50. That was for cash. So if we use cash, our cash is going down. We need to credit our cash for $12.50. Okay. So then our next one at April 2nd, we returned merchandise for cash purchased on April 4th and received a cash refund of $112. So we received a cash refund. When we go to the store and we receive cash refunds, we get cash back. Correct. So we're going to go and debit our cash for $112. Okay. And then we need to decrease our purchases. Okay. And we're going to do that by going to our purchase returns. And that's going to be our purchases, our purchase returns and allowances. We're going to debit that account. All right. We won't go and touch our purchase account. We'll credit our purchase returns and allowance account for the $112. Next, on April 4th, we purchased merchandise on credit. Okay, on credit and on account means we received an invoice. Okay, so we're going to have to create a liability with this journal entry. All right, so we're going to go and debit our purchases. For the amount of the purchase, which is $665. Okay, and then it says there was some freight charges, okay, of $40 paid by Brett Distributors and added to the invoice. So we need to record that freight too. All right, so that's going to be to our freight in account. And that's going to be for the amount of $40. Okay, so the total amount of our invoice is what we're going to credit our accounts payable for. Okay, and this is for Brett Distributors. Okay, and the total amount of that invoice should come out to $705. And what I'm doing is I'm just adding the $665 plus the $40. And that brings us to $705 in the accounts payable, the amount we owe to Brett Distributors. Okay, and then our next journal entry says that on April 7th, here it says on April 7th, returned damaged merchandise purchased on April 4th, the previous journal entry, from Brett Distributors, and we received a credit memorandum for $47. Okay, so they gave us a credit memorandum, meaning we kept the merchandise, but they did decrease how much we owe them. Okay, so their accounts payable amount needs to go down. So for April 7th, we're going to go over to our accounts payable for this particular company. I'm going to just copy and paste it. We're going to go and we're going to debit this account to decrease how much we owe them, okay? And then we're going to go and we're going to credit our purchase returns. And allowances, okay? So the allowance is where we get the credit. And that's going to be for the amount of $47. Alrighty, then finally, April 30th. And it says on April 30th here in our journal entry, it says we paid the amount due to Brett Distributors for purchases on April 4th, less, okay, less the return on April 7th. So we do want to consider this $47 return. We don't need to pay that amount. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go over to our accounts payable for Brett Distributors. And we're going to go and debit that account for what's left in the account. So what's left in the account is this $665 minus this $47 of returns. So that leaves us at $658 left to pay out to Brett Distributors. Okay, and once we make payment, we're going to go and we're going to credit our cash to bring our cash down in the amount of the payment, $658. Okay, so that's what your journal entries should look like for that problem. If you want to go study it a little, you can go back and listen to me again and do it over again. Or you can also go in and try to do it on your own, just a little practice, okay? So let's move on to the next problem. And in this problem, we're going to be looking at recording purchases made for cash on account with purchase returns. The previous one was with the credit memo. Okay, let's see what this one's going to consist of. Okay, it looks like another, it's basically the same as the previous problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just leave this problem for you to do on your own as practice. Okay, and you'll come to the same types of entries, just with different numbers. So that'll be great practice for you. So we'll just skip that one. Okay, this next one says recording purchases with purchase discounts. Okay, so let's move here to these purchase discounts. Okay, so purchase discounts, as we mentioned in our slides, are going to be given to us, to customers or buyers, when they do make their payments earlier. And they're just used to encourage buyers to pay earlier, okay, or customers to make payment earlier. Okay, so on April 1st, it says we purchase merchandise on credit. So on credit or on account are basically the same. That means that we've created a liability. Okay, so we're going to be using our accounts payable for this transaction, as well as our purchases. And if there's any freight, we'll use our freight in. Okay, so it says we purchase merchandise on credit from Auroric fabricators. Oh my gosh, man. Okay, and the invoice was for $885. Okay, and the amount of the invoice was $2,900. The terms, this is what we want to look at, the terms. So this one has terms. It's going to have a discount, and it's going to have days that it's due in full. So here we see it says 1% in 10 days or net 30. Net 30 meaning if we don't make it within the 10 days with the 1% discount, at the 30 days, we must just make the full payment. Okay, so we'll use those terms only when we're making payment. This first day on April 1st, we just want to record the purchase. All right, so we're going to go over to our purchase account. All right, and we're going to record the amount of the purchase, which is $2,900. Okay, then we had some freight in. We want to record that freight in. It says freight of $29 is prepaid by Heroic Fabricators and added to the invoice. And the total amount of the invoice is going to be $2,929. So let's just go and record our freight in. And that's $29. And then we're going to go and we're going to create an accounts payable, which is a liability account. Okay, and that amount is going to be, we want to give it a name, put the name of the vendor, which is Heroic Fabricators. We'll just abbreviate it. And the amount's going to be for $29.29. Okay, so when we go and make that payment, if there's no discounts, we need to pay the $29.29. So now we'll go to April 9th. And it says here, April 9th, we paid the amount due to Heroic Fabricators for purchases, and it was on invoice 145. So you notice we're using invoices, and most likely they're tracking their invoices for internal control. Okay, we don't want to forget about internal control and how each document's going to have its numbers, just so if we skip a number, we can figure out where is that invoice, where did it go, those types of things. Okay, so it's going to be for $1,700. The terms are going to be 1% in 10 days, net 30, or the net of the invoices due within the 30 days. Okay, the freight in. Okay, I think I may have skipped one. Let's move it back. Okay, so we're at April 9th. We paid the amount due to Heroic Fabricators for a purchase of April 1st, less the 1%. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and make a payment on this so that we can receive the discount. All right, and so when we make payment, we're going to go to our accounts payable. Okay, so that has to be debited to get it off of our books. Correct. And then we have a discount. We're going to record that discount, and that's with a debit. So that's going to be our purchase discount. Okay, and it's 1%. So 1% of our 2,900, not the freight in. Okay, so in this problem, we're actually going to go in our accounts payable. We're going to be debiting our 29.29. Okay, our purchase discount, just a little, let's clear that up again. Our accounts payable is going to be debited for 29.29. Our purchase discount is actually going to be a credit because we're going to pay less cash. Okay, and we need this journal entry to reconcile. Okay, and so our purchase discount is going to be 1% of the total invoice, okay, which comes out to $29, okay. And then our cash amount that we're going to make in payment is going to be $2,900, okay, and we're taking into account this purchase discount. And that purchase discount is just gonna, I can put it in parentheses here. It's going to be $29.29 times 1%. Okay, so that's how I got the $29. Okay, so that completes that journal entry. So now we're going to look at April 5th. April 5th. April 5th? No, April 15th. Okay, and it says April 15th we purchased merchandise on credit from Kroll Company with invoice 145 of $1,700, and the terms is 1N30. The freight is $120, prepaid by Kroll and added to the invoice. Okay, so first we're going to record the purchase. All right, and the purchase is $1,700. That's going to be the purchase amount. Okay, and then after that, we need to record the freight in, how much it cost us to get the freight to us, the product to us for good, for sale. Okay, and that's going to be $120. And then we need to record our accounts payable with the debit. And you always want to remember that we do want to indent when we're preparing these journal entries. Okay, for our general ledger, we do want to indent for those credits. And this is going to be Kroll. That's the name of the company. And I'm recording the name because each one of these companies or vendors, we're going to have subsidiary accounts payable ledgers where we track for each company what they owe us, what they've paid, and what they've purchased. Okay, so the total of this purchase and freight in is going to be $1,820, and that's just adding the two debits together. Okay, debits need to equal credits. So now we're going to go to April 17th. And it says we returned merchandise purchased on April 15th from Kroll Company and received a credit memorandum for memorandum, and the credit memorandum number was 332, and that was for $100. So the first thing we need to do is we need to take it off of this accounts payable subsidiary account. Okay, so I'm going to just go and copy and paste that. And we take that $100 off of there by debiting it. Okay, and then next we need to record our purchase returns, our purchases and returns allowance. And that's going to be of $100. Okay, so that return is recorded. So now let's go over to April 24th. That's going to be our last journal entry. Okay, and on April 24th, we paid the amount due to Kroll Company for the purchases on April 15th. It says it was less the returns on April 17th and taking the 1% discount. Okay, so we're making the discount period. We're going to have to record the discount, and then we're going to have to take into account any returns. Okay, so the returns, we've already made that journal entry. There won't be a journal entry necessary for this next journal entry for the return. Okay, so we're going to start off by once again debiting this accounts payable account because now we want to bring it down by the amount of that invoice because it was paid. So I'm going to just copy that and paste that to debit this account, and it's going to be for less the $100. So in our accounts payable we had $820. We sent back $100 here because it was damaged. So now we're going to record our 1720. Okay, 1820 minus 100 is going to leave us with 1720 left in our accounts payable to be paid. Okay, so next, once we get that debited, we want to go and credit our purchase discount of 1% because we did pay within the period. Okay, so our percentage, our purchase discount, and then I'll put in parentheses how we get this number. So we're going to take the 1720 and we're going to times it times 1%. Okay, and that should leave us with $16 as our debit, as our credit, excuse me. And then we want to go and record the cash. We made the payment, so we're going to record the cash less the $16, which leaves us at $17.04. Okay, so now Kroll Company is paid for that invoice. There may be other invoices on their subsidiary ledger that we haven't paid, but they were paid for that invoice. Okay, so that's how we're going to record our purchase returns and allowances along with any purchase discounts. Okay. So next we're going to be moving on to the next portion of our classwork. Okay. So make sure you've printed out that classwork. It's going to be a separate document, so go and print out that classwork and let's get ready to move forward to the next video. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video. Make sure you do have the paperwork printed out or you have it up on your screen so you can at least type it in as I do as we go along. All right, and like I said, these are going to be a little longer only because we're going to be looking at a lot more information, okay? And I need to make sure you're absorbing the information and you understand how to record those purchases, any freight, and any of discounts or once we make payments. I need to make sure that you completely understand what we're doing in this process. Okay. I'll see you in the next video.